Yo, what is up, y'all? MJ here, and I'm so happy to be making this video because I picked up the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. And I gotta keep it real with y'all. After having this phone for about a week, I can see the hype and I can also see the complaints. However, as somebody who recently was using the iPhone 15 Pro Max, this is a definite upgrade. Now, this ain't a full review. This is just gonna be me talking about my experience with this phone. You can probably come back to the channel in about a month and I'll have a full review breaking down my entire experience on the Galaxy. The Galaxy S25 Ultra is gonna cost you about $12.99. You're gonna be looking at the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Elite, 12 gigabytes of RAM, up to 1 terabyte storage, a 5,000 milliamp battery. You're gonna be looking at quad cameras, a 200 megapixel, a 50 megapixel, and then I believe a 12 and a 50 as well. And then of course, the main event, One UI 7. Now, I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. I used to be a die-hard Android user, and I've talked about this on videos in the past because I was all stock Android back then, man. But One UI 7 on the Samsung Galaxy, it is just incredible. It is probably one of the best OSs that I've seen in a minute. And as someone who, stuck with Apple for a long time, but still kept up with a lot of videos from other creators who were using Android phones, I can definitely see where people were coming from when they were talking about just how the OS on Android had improved a lot. iOS has been a little off, been a little janky recently, a little buggy. And then don't even get me started on what happened with Apple Intelligence, but this is it. And I'm hearing other good things from other phones as well. So I don't know, man, your boy might be back in that Android circle. I'm just keeping it real with y'all, man. Who knows? It's funny because when I started using this phone, I immediately made this look like my current iPhone, which is kind of funny. It's interesting to how much the softwares have come since then, because I'm from the era of, if you had an Android, just using Twitter was like buggy. I'm sure if some of you who remember those days, people would be talking about how apps weren't usable on Android and just everything was better on iOS. And while that may be true for a couple of apps here and there, at least not the ones I've been using, I haven't noticed that. In fact, I've actually had some issues with my 15 Pro Max, whereas with this, it just feels like every app, no matter what I'm on, just opening up anything, the animations, it just feels fluid. And who knows, maybe it's just because this phone is new, so, I'm looking at it from a newer lens and maybe it just feels fresher to me, it feels more smooth. That could be a thing as well, but either way, it just feels like when I'm on this phone, every app just feels a lot more fluid, and it kind of puts my iPhone display to shame. And I guess my whole point with bringing this up is because anyone who has been an iPhone user, you are gonna find that the, transition over to Android isn't gonna be as difficult as you think. I mean, just take a look at the lock screen. The lock screen looks a lot like an iPhone. You can customize the font, you can customize the color, and a lot of this type of stuff was on Android before. You've had customization options on Android for years, right? And not just rooting your phone either. I'm talking about just on the Play Store, you can install launchers, you can install custom lock screens, you can install a lot of stuff. And people who aren't aware of that but look at their iPhone and think, oh wow, look at this, we can move our apps around, we can tint our icons, a lot of that is on here already. And like I just mentioned a second ago, when you combine that with the fact that I feel like this display is even more fluid and it just feels like I'm getting a lot more from this display, it's gonna be a super easy transition. And speaking of a transition from iPhone, if you use your iPhone and you use it to make content, whether that's for TikTok, social media, YouTube, now this introduces log footage. And I haven't tested it fully yet. That'll probably be on the full review. And it's only just because I've taken some videos with it, but I haven't found my, preferred grade when it comes to it. But just the fact that the S25 Ultra now offers log, that is gonna be amazing for people who wanna create those cinematic videos and then be able to put them on social media, or just, to keep them for yourself. I talked about it for a second, but that 120 Hz HDR AMOLED display with 2600 nits peak brightness, I mean, this is just off the chain. Just take a look at some of these videos because they're just unbelievable, especially when you're consuming that HDR content, or maybe even something super colorful like an anime or something like that. Like, you're gonna see this screen just pop, and honestly, I do prefer it over my iPhone 15 Pro Max. I also appreciate that it has the anti-reflective coating. That helps a lot, especially when you're going to be around a lot of light. And like me, where I have a lot of photography lights and softboxes and handheld lights just for making videos and just all around my desk, this is just perfect for me when it comes to viewing content when I'm at my desk area. Now, I'm not going to talk too much on the S Pen just because I feel like since I didn't use the S Pen on previous Ultra phones or even Note phones, I think the last Galaxy phone that I had was probably the Note 8. So I don't have too much of an opinion on some of the features that were taken away, but I guess I will bring it up in my full review, and I'll let you guys know if that is something that completely bothers me or not. Also, side note, having the fingerprint scanner on here is amazing. I love this a lot. I can't get over just how cool it is. I hope that in the future, Apple brings that over, because this also has facial recognition and the fingerprint scanner. So hopefully we can get some sort of Face ID and fingerprint scanner combination in a future iPhone. I don't know what it would take for that to happen, but hopefully in the future we do get something like that. And the battery, for me, I like it. It lasts obviously longer than my current iPhone right now, but I've also had that since I think the end of 2023. So this is, of course, gonna last longer, and the standby is a lot better than my iPhone. But I have seen people complain because there's other phones right now from other manufacturers that have batteries that just blow this phone away. So there is that if you're looking for a workhorse and you need something that's gonna last you a long time. But a 5,000 milliamp battery ain't nothing to laugh at, especially when Samsung offers a lot of features to help make the battery life on this last a lot longer. And I guess the last thing to talk about before we get out of here is just the camera. So I know a lot of people have been comparing this camera to a lot of other phones. I believe some people have even pointed out and just straight up said that the camera system is just flat out the same camera system as the S24 Ultra, which has led to a lot of people not even wanting to upgrade to the S25 Ultra if you have the S24, which, I mean, makes sense, to be honest, as far as upgrading. Even if the camera system was just a little bit different, that's something I still wouldn't upgrade on, because I mean, I haven't even, gotten the 16 Pro Max yet. People have been comparing the camera on this to other phones from other manufacturers, Android specifically, and how there's some that are a lot better than this. Obviously, I haven't owned the 16 Pro Max like I just said, and I know the Pixel 9 Pro XL also exists. I don't know what people's thoughts are on that, but at least compared to my phone from 2023, the S25 Ultra, I think, competes and actually does better. I mean, it's such a blessing to have the zoom that you can get on this phone versus the iPhone 15 Pro Max. I like it a lot, and I've been taking pictures on here. In fact, shout out to Sam Beckman, but I also downloaded an app that he shouted out recently called Local Send, so I can send back and forth between my phones and also to my MacBook and to my PC. So if you haven't checked out Local Send, I would highly recommend that. I'll drop a link in the description. That isn't advertised or whatever. I just thought it was a really cool app to kind of help bridge the gap. But all in all, the S25 Ultra, I've had a blast using. I'm gonna keep using it. I'm happy I picked it up, and I mean, the phone just looks nice. I can't even, stress how good this phone looks, and the display, like I talked about earlier, is just incredible. Anyways, guys, let me know what y'all think about the S25 Ultra if y'all own it, and if y'all don't, are y'all gonna go ahead and pick it up, or y'all just gonna wait to see what Samsung drops next year? And as always, thank y'all for tuning in, and make sure you like this video and share with your friends. And now that we hit 1,000 subs, man, I'm aiming for that 5,000. Let's get there. Thank you again to everyone who has subbed to this channel. I appreciate it so much. Anyways, talk to y'all next time.